conference will now be recorded.
There we go. Easy peasy. Cool. All right, where do we want to start?
Let's open the meeting and approve the minutes that you did so
We'll make
beautifully.
it officially. Okay, do we have a motion for that? Do we have to do
We
it
don't
like
have,
this?
we don't have a committee, so we can't.
We don't have to do it this officially, right?
Okay.
And we can skip the Pledge of Allegiance as well.
Okay.
So when do you think that we will have a committee? When will we be appointing so we can officially say we're started?
Probably pretty soon.
February 10th?
Possibly.
Oh, great.
But, I have barely talked with Hannah and I are meeting after this meeting.
Okay.
So,
So you're gonna have a sign-in sheet of people who are interested.
Well, this is really good that Tim just showed me. This is Stroom's comprehensive plan update. Their plan was done in 1977. So this is like 60 pages. And this is the comprehensive plan from Chesterfield, because they had to do the whole thing. So if we could do an update, that would be wonderful.
Is there
Easier.
an existing comprehensive plan?
Yes, from 1975.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Carol, do you have a copy of it?
I will email, I'll forward you, because I emailed everyone a link to it, as well as,
Right.
some of the surrounding towns, so I will forward that, actually.
Yeah, I have time to get that.
You did get it?
I think it was the formula, and that was one of my questions, was is there a formula that, looks good to the state
Oh, that's
or
nice.
looks good to the
Right.
granting agencies, because that's what some of the earlier ones look
They look pretty similar to what other ones look like.
So here we can, yeah. we can
Oh, I like
look
it.
for something else.
I know you-
Anyway,
I like
that was one of my questions about,
It's online. I'm not gonna cop up my copy. I have notes all over it.
Oh, no.
You don't have to
You're
look at it.
tired.
Oh,
Highland Drive.
oh, right, I decided.
Here's a copy of it.
I felt like.
I'm gonna want it back.
Don't
Okay,
take it,
good.
I'll steal it from Pat. but-
She knows
I have a
where I
little more
live.
reading to do.
She really knows where I live.
Yeah.
This is
Can
a
I get
different
a
survey.
copy of your AI?
There's two of them there.
pseudo
Yeah.
Town plan?
Yeah.
All right.
And they're both nice enough that you could combine them and,
Well, yeah, I
I
want to
know.
review
I mean,
these.
that's the joy
Okay.
of.
I won't take them from you, I'll find them online.
you should take them, I can
You
get them
don't,
again.
you don't care?
So somebody's gonna need to combine those into one, and
Yeah.
I was thinking you, the expert typist, would be a great.
Well, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find them online and I'm gonna
Okay,
And then
just edit them from there.
Yep.
completely
what are you combining out of
get
curiosity?
out of.
Pat printed out some surveys that the town of Chesterfield and town of St. Armand,
Oh,
you wanna
okay.
look at them, when they were doing this,
Okay,
what they went through.
okay.
Surveying the townspeople, you mean?
I believe so, yep. I haven't looked through them myself yet.
But it looked like the 75 one had that as a component of building any kind of a plan, was diligently surveying
Right.
community
Yes.
members.
Yes.
Keene has a really good, and they actually have the people who are interested in doing
Kind of,
specific things.
What's that?
Yeah.
kind of.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's short and.
Sarah Adams, not really.
No,
I far enjoy devil's advocate. Annoying person who was here in 75. What have we accomplished so far? Are these the same? Do we just need different words for these things? How did that work out?
Okay.
And that's why you don't want to be on the committee?
Yeah. Because I can't say those things.
Do you remember the comprehensive plan process?
I'm sorry?
Do you remember the comprehensive plan process in 75?
No, they had just completed it.
I'm 76.
So I saw more of the efforts of the community trying to meet those and follow, appears to be recommendations, basically. So that's how I ended up with questions of, oh, do we use this description in terms of planning board decisions and zoning board decisions, and where, because there was that conversation about definition of aesthetic, and I thought, oh, well, maybe it's in the 75, maybe it's in the most recent description of the goals of the community. And I haven't quite answered that for myself yet, but anyway, that's one of those questions that I have, and how I see it could be useful in many different ways. So, if this is a document to define the community and double check on how we did on the previous goals, and then what are the new goals? What are the new economic needs? What are the new? But I wasn't here last time, so I'm probably speaking of things that people have already said.
No, you did really good.
Oh, well.
You always do.
So what did you talk about last time, since I wasn't here?
We were just kind of kicking it off. There wasn't as many people here
Okay,
because it was really bad weather
yes,
again.
yes.
Since then, Verily sent me an artificially intelligent.
2 seconds.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Then I sent it to Jen. She didn't get it, and it disappeared. So
Oh, no.
artificial intelligence.
Oh.
If they didn't want me sharing.
I should be able to recoup it because
Yeah.
it'll be in my email.
Yeah, and the demographics, we have to do all kinds of different types of people in Wilmington to make sure everybody's heard from.
Sure.
That was we had homework. Did everybody do their homework? No?
I did my homework. I have to print it out and email it. Sorry.
Well, I think actually one of the questions I wanted to bring today, because I have kind of a long list that I made. How do we want to organize information? Like, how is there? I'm curious how did other towns like centralize everything that everyone gathered and keep it organized, and like where did they store it? I'm curious about that.
Okay, I'll look into it. I don't know.
And I can as well. I didn't know if anyone had thoughts about it or may have been familiar with how other towns did it.
Did Bill just raise his hand? Yeah.
No, that wasn't a hand raise.
So we can look into that then. I wanted to, bring it out and see if anybody had any suggestions.
The only thing I can think of is Google Docs. I haven't really liked Google Docs that much, but it does a lot.
But it's something that everybody could share.
Is there something that the town uses?
I have no idea.
I think that would be something
I sort of doubt it, but yeah, I guess we can look into it. My mind also went to maybe trying to use Google Suite and create.
Right. And that way it allows you
Just
to
to share.
put things into different, like
Right.
survey results.
I think my thought, where my mind went to ultimately is that we'll probably have to appoint 1 or 2 people to be the information gatherers, organizers, but I think that probably has to wait until we actually have the official committee.
There are several different ways of organizing committees, and I was familiar with one that had facilitator role and a recorder role,
Okay.
which could be, so, you can follow different formats, but that makes a lot of sense to, work through that. Because there's like secretary to keep minutes of the meetings that are held, but you could establish, for that's kind of developing a report, you could establish
Someone
a
specific,
recorder,
yeah.
that things would feed into.
I think probably most committees, most towns hire a consultant.
Well, that's what.
And okay, so that's who would usually.
Yeah.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Consultant to help write it or just to?
Yes, and help organize it, lead the discussions. Part of it is focus group meetings. They're called charrettes. Lead the conversations, and they've been through this process before, so it is pretty formulaic.
I was going to ask if that's something we can borrow somebody else's formula or
Rather than buy it.
template.
Mhm.
And since we have access to all these different towns, that I was just curious of that. Because usually that formula, they also, I think, do a lot of the surveying.
Yeah,
Some of
the
the
big thing is
consultants.
really,
Makes sense.
So they do a lot of the legwork.
Mm-hmm.
If you hire somebody to do it, they have employees who run the surveys and whatever.
Yeah.
So for the people who weren't here last week, we did apply for a grant to hire a consultant. We did not get the grant.
Okay.
90 towns or 91 towns applied and 14 towns got it. They said our application was good, but not one of the top 14. So one of the county officials, Office of Community Resources, I asked her, how far can we go before we hire a consultant? Because obviously we can get part of the way down the road before we have to hire a consultant. And she said, you can get pretty far. And the farther you get, the less you have to spend. So rather than waiting another year, just find out if we get a grant, I think we should start. Like that's what we're trying to do now.
So
Any idea how much a consultant costs?
The grant application we were putting in was for, I want to say 90,000, but 90,000, right? So which is,
it's really up to you.
yep.
And especially when you see,
Can I have the
we
list
could
here
use
of,
AI as
what
our
the
guide,
Task that she said.
right?
we-
I'm sure that they're
would be capable
capable
of doing.
for the 90,000.
Want me to
So,
read those or?
I mean, but they have their
I was going to
power.
answer Hannah's
You
question.
know, it's,
The person from the county did say, we can get far enough that the town only will end up having to spend like $30,000 or less, is what her estimate was. So I guess that means we can get maybe 2/3 of the way.
is there advice on what that
Yeah.
2/3 looks like?
Right.
Is that the surveying? Is
What's the
that the
easy?
I would think so.
getting data, accumulating data in terms of population and
She did give it to
demographics?
me.
Oh, okay.
Community survey and stakeholder interviews, review local and regional planning efforts and ongoing initiatives, community profile, community visioning workshops. That's it.
Another one that I've seen is like a summary, because Wilmington's gone through this at least 3 times. We did the Hamlet of Wilmington document in the 80s. We did the local waterfront revitalization document. These are somewhat similar to a comprehensive plan, and in one of these I've seen they summarize the previous efforts to do this type of thing, which I think
Bill's trying to raise his hand.
Smart.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to follow up on Tim's comment about the grant that was not funded to pay for a consultant. I took a look at the RFP from last year, and I think we should keep it in mind at the beginning of the process here, because it really does provide some good organization. For example, it really wants us to think a lot about smart growth and many of the aspects of smart growth that we might be able to kind of incorporate into our comprehensive plan. So rather than just getting started and leaving the notion of getting the grant application together down the road, I would encourage us at least to become familiar with it and let that help us kind of guide our discussion and use it a little bit as a checklist for the questions that we need to answer.
good point.
Along the same lines with the committee, with other towns that won those grants, are there names of those towns that we might be able to partner with now and kind of follow their process, be like join their committee meetings and things like that to get an idea of model what they're doing, what those consultants are doing, so that we can gain that benefit of, I don't know what the 14 towns were, but if they're close by, it seems like one of us could join that and kind of spy on some of the work so that we can borrow shamelessly that work and maximize that benefit. So
I can actually answer that question. Willsboro is doing one. Ticonderoga and Westport are holding public workshops soon, and we were told that it would be good for us to attend Ticonderoga or Westport's public workshops. And Black Brooks is almost finished. And Jay is also working on this, so it's really all the rage.
So one thing about the 14 is that they weren't all comprehensive plan recipients. So this grant, I don't know, category, I guess, includes a lot of different projects, one of which is developing a comprehensive plan. I went back and looked at who was funded in 2024, and there were only a few comprehensive plan requests. A lot of it was for all sorts of other kind of smart growth related projects. So I don't think we have 14 of them to look at right now based on last year. But Tim hit the big ones that are close by.
Where can we learn more about what New York State thinks smart growth principles are?
There are some resources online. Certainly the RFP has built into it questions pertaining to smart growth. There's also a website kind of upstream of that has kind of a general discussion. I'd be happy to put together a few resources and send them to Hannah. Smart growth, I was pleased that they are actually focusing on smart growth because that is a useful way to think about organizing a community's visioning. So maybe before next time, people will have some resources they can take a look at, kind of maybe a big picture overview, and then maybe some more details about what New York State is actually focusing in on for these grants.
What was the name of the link that you were saying?
Well, I can look it up there and get back to you in a few moments. It's a smart growth grant competition. Yeah, well, I've got it on my laptop here. I can send you something or just report in a few minutes.
I hate to be ignorant, but what does RFP stand for?
Request for proposal.
Request for proposal.
Which was the grant request?
Okay.
Okay.
Did they say what they didn't like about our grant request?
They did.
What did they say?
They said it stunk.
Did they really?
No. They said, be more specific, don't be formulaic, don't just repeat the same things over and over. Budget section lack details, be more specific about how the money will be spent. When there are multiple parts to a question, make sure to answer all parts of the question. Actually answer the question, don't just use buzzwords. We don't need a lesson in what smart growth principles are.
Who prepared that grant?
Favor.
Well, that was comprehensive feedback.
Actually, you know what I was thinking is when we went to the that thing in Saranac Lake, the planning board thing, there was a woman who was explaining about the process of asking for grants and what it is exactly that you need to do. And I was thinking that she is the person who would really know exactly how we should be wording our.
Yeah, but she was one of the consultants that you would hire, though.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't a consultant. She worked for New York State.
Okay.
Do you know, there's a person, I think she lives on Bonnie View Road, who is the grant advisor for the Cloud Splitter Foundation, which is based out of Saranac Lake. But she lives here locally. I can't pull the name at this moment out of my thought.
Is it Cara? Are you thinking someone else? Cara
Maybe.
Page?
Yes, Cara Page. She might be a really wonderful resource.
She's not on Bonnie View.
No, she's not on Bonneville.
Oh, where is she?
But I think she does do Cloud Splitter.
Okay. She's on Springfield.
Cara Page is definitely the person.
Would it be worth hiring one of those two people?
She's actually is a grant writer. She might be,
And she loves Wilmington.
right, that's
I mean,
that's
it's
a
gonna
real
take,
plus.
it's
A
gonna take a
resource.
year
Yeah.
for what we're doing anyway, right? And before we'd have to hire a
Yes,
consultant anyway, at least a year.
yes, it's generally A year to 2 years.
But
No, Jay's taking 2 years, and I think, we could maybe do it in a year, maybe, but I think 2 years is the normal.
But if we do an update.
all I'm saying is we have
instead of-
time to
Plan.
write a grant, that's all.
Mhm.
There's a lot of time involved in the legwork. At least in the things that I've been involved with. I mean, so surveying people on different topics, making sure that you have all the information back in.
Jay had, I think,
It's-
3 rounds of surveys, right?
I don't know, there
It
was
takes
a
time.
lot of them. They were always in J News.
Right,
and-
I think it was 3 rounds of surveys. And I think that really we could just use them as a cheat sheet. I mean, the surveys, I actually opened up a couple of the surveys to see the types of questions, and I was impressed. They are well worded, they're good questions to ask. So, and I'm sure that they would give us those, that as a resource,
They have Jay has a really great website where everything is organized. All of the, specifically for the comprehensive
Right,
plan.
so,
update that they're doing.
that, I think that would be the place to begin, is just to start with the surveys. And then once people are surveyed and you explain, we're making a comprehensive plan, we're interested in formulating and getting a consensus of what locals want, need, envision. We'd love your input type of thing. Then it starts rolling. So maybe we should just start right away with those surveys.
I hate to say it, but I completely agree. And I was
Why
also
do you hate to
thinking,
say it?
I completely agree.
Darren?
Yes, and I was also thinking with the first survey, we should put something that says, please participate. It's another way of, a good way of outreach.
Yeah.
If you want to participate, email us here or that type of thing.
What we're looking for, blah, blah, blah.
So we don't need to start with appointing so that we are a committee instead of a group of people just
I think you need
hanging
a
out.
You
committee.
need a committee, you
You
got
need a
to have
committee.
structure.
Okay.
Well, actually, let's
We
just
can
start with
do
the
it
survey.
Plan what the
concurrently.
committee's gonna do,
I
but
can do it concurrently.
Right, exactly, I'm with you. Yeah, let's not hold off on the survey. Let's just get it rolling.
But it takes,
it's
Yeah.
good to know what the survey
right.
or surveys are asking and why.
Jay has theirs right on. You can look
Yeah,
at
so
it.
there's a little
Yeah.
bit, and just to be sure that they have many different hamlets.
Mhm.
Wilmington only has one.
Right.
It is a unique place.
Yep.
And even Keene has more than one. This one's different. So just making sure that absolutely,
That it applies to us.
yeah, bring in everything from everywhere, but prior, not quite step 1 is sending them out. Step 1 is making
Right.
sure that
Okay,
they're
it's first
creating it.
printing out the surveys,
Well,
rewriting them,
making
organizing them so that they actually
making
reflect.
sure they're applicable.
Right,
to,
right.
We could
Yeah.
try and get that information together and then have it ready when the committee is actually formed to sort of give to them.
Yep.
And say, you can start with this or not.
if they-
Do we have to ask Jay for permission to use their,
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think that would be.
have to
It would probably be
Friendly.
be
polite.
the
to do,
right thing to do?
I got the name of the head of the committee, Wally something.
Walters.
Walter.
They have,
Walters.
they have
They got his
everybody
phone
right
number.
on. I know one of the board members there as well.
Okay.
I'm sure we all have contacts that we can reach out to.
But I
It
think
feels like you have to have a goal, the goal in your head, which need committee input in order to write the questions for the survey. You have to have a framework that you're trying to get to. And it's possible that a good percentage of Jay's questions will be applicable, but we as a community probably have things that are very unique and important to
vision.
us. And I think
What are
we
we
need
trying
to,
to determine?
we need to
That's
identify
exactly
what
what the
those things are.
survey is out to assess,
Right.
right?
What's important?
Right, what is important to people? Because otherwise, we're going to assume that we know what is important. I know I
But
can
aren't-
certainly speak for
Aren't
everybody.
you're saying before we do the survey, you're saying to make I'm sorry, the point, but I don't know anybody's name, so,
Hannah,
so, but you're saying to create
The
to create
focus.
the questions for the survey, is what you're talking about, right? she's a step beyond that, right?
Right, and I'm saying that before we can put a survey out, we kind of need to know what our goal for that survey is. And I think that's going to take some discussion, rather, in addition to looking at what.
Right, Jay could be a good starting point,
Yeah.
but we want to tailor it to more specifically what we're looking for.
Right.
Well, that's why they had 3 stages of surveys, right?
And I
So
mean,
you start with,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go.
Well, I worry that you might get people who respond once, maybe twice, and you're going to have a point of diminishing returns. So you want to start off with something that's exciting and engaging and that you want to be part of, and so we have to. I think we just need some thought and time before we just put a. So just my thoughts.
Well, and I think to that, I actually kind of agree with what you're saying. Maybe it makes more sense to try to, instead of doing multiple for us, try to encapsulate everything in one. And if we feel we need to do another, we can go from there. But I think Jay also has double the population of Wilmington.
Yes, that's right.
So we might not need more than, one might cover, at least get us started.
I think if you start looking at one, then it becomes really important to figure out who it's going to. So we have primary residents, we have second home owners, we have the demographic piece that you guys were talking about. And I noticed from like the 75, there are environmental questions and there are economic questions and there are different categories of questions and there are different categories of, who it's going to, is it just going to taxpayers? Is it going to, I don't know where those lists are of residents of the township of Wilmington. And then the identity of, there's the hamlet of Wilmington and then there's the township of Wilmington. And just, I see the necessity for having that framework built on the questions that need to be answered to develop the document that has questions that need to be answered.
It's one of the questions that was asked. Do you live here full time or you're?
We don't.
Oh,
we
no,
don't
I think
just
it's the
have
other way
to,
around.
Base it on J either. We have two other,
Yeah.
Essex, New York,
Yeah.
and what's the other town?
I think
Chesterfield?
Keene was a big one that we looked at.
He was, like, for me, I thought, oh my gosh, this is one I was a little closest to. It's short.
See, this
Yes.
is Chesterfield, and it does ask, all your
And it
demographics,
starts-
own primary home, own second home, rent a home, work in town, own a business, attend school, vacation or visit. So that's a question that's in there.
So
Those are all.
It goes to
And-
everybody.
That's
And
why
the J
that's the
one, is
first-
this the J one?
No, this is Chesterfield.
So Keysville.
Yeah.
So there's that survey that goes out to everyone and everyone who has
Yeah,
any
this-
interest in the
this one?
community. And then is there the possibility of surveying identified residents, whether identified by voting, identified by tax paying? That's a question I have. I don't know how you identify a resident.
They have
From
to
the first survey.
self-identify.
But what metrics are you using? I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the
Good
question. No, but yeah, I get what you, and are you saying you want to clarify what metrics we're using for the first survey? Or are you thinking that we may need to do more surveys specifically targeted at those subsets of stakeholders?
I think that's possible, and I think that's something that ought to be discussed.
Yeah.
I think identity, thank you, stakeholders.
Yeah.
I think identifying the
The groups,
stakeholders.
Right.
and the
Because one of
groups.
the things I read suggested almost making leads of each stakeholder group
Mhm.
that represent the different stakeholders. My thought is, my opinion is that for the first survey, I don't know that we need to single anyone out.
Mhm.
Because Wilmington's so small, I think we could just have questions on there that identify. I think what makes sense to me is we
Yeah.
identify the different stakeholder groups and then have people self-select which they're in. Go ahead, Bill.
In a broad sense, every person who owns property in Wilmington is a stakeholder and needs to be receiving a survey.
Yes.
You can always follow up maybe with additional surveys for some other people. You know, I think we don't want to rush into the survey. We want to be efficient and we want to, you know, get it out there, but you really get one shot at this. So we want to do it right. But
Absolutely.
anyway, I wouldn't be too focused on focusing on certain people. At a minimum, we got to get it out to everybody who owns property here because they are all stakeholders.
Absolutely.
Or rents. right?
Yeah, I
Or
think, yeah.
resides here, yeah.
And not just people who own property,
Right.
but certainly
There's only
at a
19
minimum, all of them.
Okay.
Wow.
Was it an update or was it a new one?
Thank you, Beth.
So,
So could we,
But they only did one survey?
that I don't know. I'm sure they did other like focus groups
Right.
and visioning workshops, and they may have done multiple surveys. I'm not sure.
so as a starting point, could we just politely?
Yeah, I mean, a survey, you're kind of doing more of a broad swath and getting some quantitative information. Then you take that into a more qualitative environment and do more of a deep dive. So that's where you can start to pull out the nuances and sort of the, you know, the differences and things like that. But I would typically, I think I mentioned this before, advocate for both a quant and a qual set of research methodologies to answer some questions.
Thank you. Can you say it again?
That just could, as a starting point, could we, you know, it sounds like we have a lot of contacts, just politely, diplomatically ask to get everybody's, as many surveys as we can to use as a,
Right.
as a guide,
Just go
just
through
to
and-
sort of as a starting point. You know, if we can get a hold of Keen, we can get a hold of Jay and just sit down and hash them out, and maybe it'll give us some ideas about what ours should look like.
And with Jay, we can get all three of their, we can get their first survey, their
Mhm.
second survey, see
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
progresses.
And maybe, and I don't know, maybe it would make sense to designate a specific portion of the committee once it exists to go through surveys.
To evaluate them
Yeah.
and make a recommendation of what our survey should.
Or, I mean, maybe we should even
Start, yeah.
start that now if there's a couple people who are interested in doing it.
I think Hannah is.
Yeah.
Immediately volunteering from
I think one of my big questions next is, do we want to sort of email chain through some of this information? Do we want to just email back and forth to start? You know, it seems like the survey is kind of where everyone's focus has gone, but I also think identifying the stakeholder groups would be important. You know, do we want to do a specific meeting for that? You know,
And what I
get?
think would be helpful, even before we do that,
Mhm.
I think it'd be really helpful if we could talk to the person who led the J group
Okay.
and the person who led the, you know, Black Brook or whoever's close by. Keene is a good plan. And ask if they would be willing to share with us what they felt were the most important first steps and learn what went well for them and if there were any pitfalls that we should avoid to find out what those might be and just build off their experience. It's not like it's proprietary, so it's most
That's a
likely
good
they'd be
idea.
willing to share.
Yeah.
I always feel like I want to learn from the experts before I go trudging off on my own.
And Keene's a little unique because they didn't have a consultant.
Oh.
And what do they call it? They don't call it a comprehensive plan. And it works for them. They've been able to get the grants based on what they have.
It's
And
very specific. It's really,
did you read it?
yeah, I did.
Did
And-
Dave Perrin
It cost them
Dave and
$5,000.
Jim?
Wow, right.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that?
Did Dave and Jim?
Strategic.
I don't know. I don't know who
Strategic
was
plan,
the
yeah.
goal were involved.
Because they were consultants in their professional life and Team's been lucky to have a lot of their input.
Well, I think that they were very grounded. So they don't have the blather that we would get with this huge document if we have it AI generated or consultants generated, where you have lots of the journalists. It's very specific, you know, and
So read Keen, that's my number one priority.
Right.
Can I comment on the Keen? They have a strategic plan, I guess. It's not a comprehensive plan. It has
Right.
some good stuff in it. What they've done is they've asked for, the 5 top things that people want to do better, make Keene a better
And then they have
place
specific,
to live.
they name the people, right?
Yeah, and it's very good for those 5 things, but the other, Keene is an anomaly. They have no land use control. They have no zoning. And we need a comprehensive plan that will back up our zoning and give us land use planning for the future. So, the Keene document is useful for them, but they are following a very different path in terms of how they are trying to develop, how they're trying to control the development. They have site plan review and that's it. So I want to be really careful about using Keene as a model for a comprehensive plan. I think it has excellent content. I think they've really hit on things like affordability, health, and seniors, and many things that are really good. And so some of those components, we can learn from and how they are trying to address them, but they're not a comprehensive plan.
That is a good point. How about the, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oops.
Don't you
It
hate
started
that?
from the beginning of it started from the beginning of what Bill was saying, and then right, with regard, we should be in a space where our comprehensive plan allows us to make changes to things like the zoning code that we have now, right? And to implement things that, like the conservation subdivision type stuff, that we should be able to integrate it. But I think it should be more open than the Keene one is. Keene actually locates, specific people, and they'll be doing specific jobs and stuff like that. And ours is going to be working on a higher level of abstraction probably, but nonetheless, we do want it to be, something that allows us to move.
Is the point of having a comprehensive plan to give the overall vision of the future for the community? And then when questions come up on zoning or land use, you look to the comprehensive plan.
I think that's the
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
That's your North Star.
That's
That's
the
what
North
you're,
That's your constitution.
Yeah.
So does that mean that our standing one is the 1975 one?
Yeah.
Because it does answer a number of these questions that have been coming up. So I was kind of wondering, but that's that is
That's
Yeah.
what
the existing,
right.
okay, so
But that should be
updated.
updated, open to change, because that
Oh,
was
yeah, it was pre 1980 Olympics,
before the
so
Olympics,
it,
6 years
the
ago.
economy
The
changed
world's changed.
radically, exactly. But
Take one of that.
the format and the floor plan answers all of these, or questions many of these things in terms
No
of
problem.
the economic development, and I was curious if that helps
Really
me
not, I don't,
know that it's currently standing.
yeah.
Okay, so if I get annoyed with something, I can say, well, did you refer to the
Yeah.
1975 plan?
Comprehensive
Go ahead,
His
is that what
guiding
that
principles
says?
lead us this way.
If you want a really good example, take a look at North Elba. Unfortunately, it's such a large document and they have all sorts of extra stuff in there. It's a lot to wade through. But go to about page 106 or so, and you'll see something really important in the next few pages after that, that Keene doesn't even attempt, and that is a future land use map. It's very important in terms of thinking about where we want various types of development to happen in Wilmington. Keene doesn't even address that because they don't even do land use control. They just do site plan review. But in the town of Elba document, very nice maps, very good explanation. So that's maybe a better model for at least that component of the comprehensive plan.
We've
Just
kind of
take a look at
seen though what we've done at the end of this comprehensive plan. There's something like that's going on. And one of the things, I guess that's the reason why I keep on saying about to act on, because while they have all these great ideas, there's really no venue for enacting it. it's sort of like pie in the sky. Oh, we have these great dreams, and then there's no way. And you see exactly how this would stymie, and it's too big. It's like saying, oh, we need to put in we need to put in sewage for Wilmington. And it's like, well, it's too big, and so nobody acts on it at all. And instead, we just do the little things that are doable. Like
Well, there's a variety of ways that you can learn to prioritize things based on feasibility, importance, as well as other matrices that you can use once you kind of have a set of things that you're kicking around. And maybe you're saying there are a couple of big ones that we think are important. They may take longer, and you're mapping the path to that. And then smaller things that are more easy, quick wins that, and it's a balance of the two.
And I think it's up to the board.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
To keep
At the end
the
here?
comprehensive plan at the forefront of their discussions.
Well, the 75 was followed by a zoning code.
Right.
So the zoning code that was created after that plan answered a number of the things that you're talking about as being hopeful or just aspirational. Thank you. So when I was looking at it, I was kind of going through, okay, did the town then move forward in taking action, which I think is what you're saying, is that it's all ideas and no action. And I think that's what it was. It was a plan, expecting the ideas to move forward in a different way. So the zoning board was one. I think the 83, the beach revitalization. I think there are examples of behavior based on those ideas.
Yeah.
Flipping through the comprehensive plan, I got my copy from Roy, and someone had written in the margin, these are good ideas, but how do we implement them?
Mm-hmm.
But in a lot of it, I think we're going to come up with some of the same things that they came up with 50 years ago that Wilmington should do. Changes we would like, the direction we'd like to see Wilmington go in. The things that have been, some things have been accomplished. I'm not sure if it had anything to do with the comprehensive plan or if it's just things that people wanted to do, but creating this building was on there. Health center was on there. Permanent library was on there. More trails and more sidewalks. Those were the
doables.
Those were the things we accomplished. Yeah.
Well, and there are businesses that followed their economic suggestions of focus. So maybe building in expectations or when the plan's going to be revisited. Maybe there's a check-in. Rather than waiting 50 years. Maybe we're talking about. I don't know if the other plans have something like that built in and say, okay, was this, is this still viable or has any of this been accomplished or?
This might seem a bit esoteric, but there is also a way to approach this that perhaps rather than saying, this is what we want, we can make the document much more like a constitution where we just say, these are the things that are not going to happen. You know what I mean?
But you want it to be positive, not just negative.
Well, no, it's not, that doesn't necessarily mean, it gives you a lot of freedom. It actually creates more freedom to work from a space where you're saying, we're not going to allow for, mass amounts of cut down, or we're not going to allow for short-term rent, an economy of short-term rentals. We're not going to allow for this type of thing. And then what happens is, then it opens up how people can think about creating more bike paths or whatever. But you don't necessarily say we want to end up with this, because that's part of the problem with this one, is that it did say, this is what we want. This is the map of how we want the residential area, blah, 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 blah. And really, you can't really say to somebody, well, we want you to move here. We want you to create this type of business. We can create the space where these types of businesses and those types of residents can arise because we have that type of protection.
I think you could do that with, what is the thing that what's Keene's thing called?
The strategic plan.
Okay, can't you take the overall,
Actually,
the comprehensive plan and have a piece of it be the, whatever the Keene thing is? Thank you.
strategic. Yeah,
And the strategic could be what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
actually,
you can align that to a North Star, as somebody was mentioning a North Star, and you ask yourself, and the community aligns with what the North Star is, and I'm going to make this up, but it is to maintain the fine balance between nature and livable space or whatever it would be. And then every time a decision is taken, the community is measuring that against that North Star and say, does this activity or this decision go further away from that North Star, or does it get us closer to it? So it's very much what you're saying about what can you do or can't you do, but it is more of that positive framing of that the team, not team, sorry, I'm still at work, that the community would be aligning to.
Yeah, and as I think to your, and maybe what you're saying is as narrow as it can be realistically. Yeah, I was looking through the Scroon one. Their vision statement is a full page. It's an essay. That's
Exactly.
too much.
It has to
It's
be
gotta
short.
It's got to
Yeah.
be something that any one of us,
Yep.
anybody in the town could say, here's our vision for our town.
That's it. Yep. It's like a creative
Well,
brief.
and that's why- Right, we think of it as.
Yeah, it wouldn't include everything.
Right.
You wouldn't say everything in there, which I think they've tried to do here.
Because if we get sued for something, that's what the judge is gonna look at, that vision statement.
Yeah, and it's like,
And
wait
it's
a
right
minute,
there.
you said, yeah.
Yep.
But if it's more broad.
Yep.
Um,
There's more ambiguity.
And there can, it's funny with, and the business that I work in, where we do make these very, very simple statements that have a lot of opportunity to explore things, but it is also very defined. And so defining that aligned goal very simply gives you that flexibility and freedom, but it is the simple statement that no one can pick apart the third sentence in it or the fifth sentence in it, and instead it is one simple North Star goal.
that's it.
That's like our town of Wilmington website front page. We have that idiot talking, blah, blah, blah. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, Hannah, did we answer your question about how to communicate?
Which question?
About how we, like whether we should start an email thread.
So I have some thoughts. I'm thinking perhaps everyone who wants to be involved should start going through the surveys and other comprehensive plans and email me if there are particular survey questions they think would be pertinent to include, the stakeholder groups that they think we should identify and include, and other details, notes, whatever. And I can start to centralize stuff, and that way, when we actually get a committee appointed, I'll have some of that organized, and we can sort of hand that to them and say, here's some suggestions that we've already, and hopefully it's going to be a lot of you guys. And we'll have some of it written down and organized a little bit, and then you can jump off from there.
That's very nice of you.
Sounds good.
That's
You
that's
just
very
volunteered
gracious
to
of
do that.
you.
You're gonna get a barrage.
Yes.
Should I make, what is that Essex's question survey? Should I make copies of that too?
This is St. Armand.
Okay.
It's pretty good though.
So we're not worried about asking permission. I mean, it's
They're similar. This is all,
You don't, I mean.
Yeah,
it
the
wouldn't-
questions are pretty like anybody can come up
Yeah, it
with.
wouldn't
Right,
be plagiarism
they're
to
general.
copy these
Actually,
questions.
But what are the questions that you have there, Pat?
This is the town of St. Armand. And it's also, it's divided up demographics, infrastructure, recreation, land use, housing, general. So it's all the important areas.
I don't mind getting a copy of that.
Yeah.
I can help you out. Joe.
Thank you.
I will,
Okay, good.
as I say, I can probably find that in
Or-
email links as well.
I was
when
gonna
I
say,
email
should we
everyone.
scan it and email it?
And the J one.
I
still-
like paper, I know,
Yeah,
I'm with
it's,
you.
This
I have
J
to-
one,
I have
if
to
you
go
got
and
that
print it
first email
out.
I sent, I included a link to the J website, and they have, it's very well organized. They have all of this stuff, they have like how they did the committee, I'll forward it to you.
Can you send that to everybody?
I'll resend the first email just so it's fresh, or I'll get the information from the first email, I'll include that, and I'll send another email probably tonight with all of
With
this.
the J thing?
Yes, yep, absolutely.
How important do we think it is to do what you said about talking to the other towns?
Very important.
I think the more we get, the better. Yeah. And so anybody who knows.
Yeah.
I
we
think the
got-
question in that
or we
regard
just
is,
reach out
are there
blindly.
people who want to start doing that now, or do we want to wait until the committee is actually
Since we're not
formed?
really
I don't know that we
member,
can reach out
You
until,
guys are
right,
you going to be the co-chairs of the committee?
no, temporarily, unless Pat wants to continue doing it.
We're just getting the show on the road here.
Yeah, yeah,
So neither of you necessarily are going to be the chair people?
correct. You guys are going to elect your
Are
own
you going to
chairs.
attend?
I would like to remain involved.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Is Tim going to come to meetings? You know?
I would suspect he comes to most of them. I won't speak for him.
No, well, I just wondered where obviously.
Yeah,
I would say there's other facets here to consider too. So like when you talk about economic development groups, I mean, there's ties to the Chamber of Commerce, there's ties to local business owners who may not live in the town, own the property that they have their businesses in. So I think that's one facet. I think plugging into like infrastructure, plugging into the town oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the don't get sick, it's the worst. But plugging into like the facilities and the groups that highway department, things like that.
yeah.
But,
So
you know,
I actually, a few of the stakeholder groups that I actually listed out were like public safety and utilities, which would be the fire department, electric, gas, water, sewer, elected, the governmental officials, and then also business and economic interests. And I can share this with everybody as well, but I absolutely, if you want to share that too, your ideas and where you're coming from, and if other people are thinking in the same vein, I think it would be great to get all that, all that.
and there
written
might be people interested. So the fire department, for example, there might be people that we can attract to the committee and bring in, so they have that expertise and they have that voice at the table. And I think that's important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Since there's a bit of a lull here, just for one moment, I just wanted to point out that in the chat, I posted 3 links going back to the Smart Growth Grant, the grants that were awarded in 2024 in the RFP for last year. That's not really background on exactly what Smart Growth is. I could send something to Hannah to distribute later, but if you're at all interested in the grant, these 3 links here are kind of helpful. So.
Bill, can you email me those 3 links as well? And then I'll share it that way with everyone.
Sure.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's smart growth. Are they using smart like they use smart when you're setting goals? That they're measurable, achievable? Is that what it's smart, an acronym or?
It's not an acronym. So Smart Growth came up really starting in, I don't know, maybe the 80s and 90s as a reaction to the kind of land use controls we had, where we tended to completely segregate different uses of land. Like you had your industrial zone, you had your residential zone, you had maybe your retail downtown. And what was neglected was really building healthy neighborhoods. And so Smart Growth is a lot about concentrating development in certain areas and making more livable, walkable neighborhoods, mixed use, limiting the spread of towns, trying to, in some cases, develop growth boundaries. It's just a reaction to planners recognizing that what we had been doing since World War II until about the 60s or 70s was really the wrong way to develop. It was really destroying a lot of towns or cities.
Jen, did you have something to add as well?
No, did I accidentally raise my hand? No.
No, you're good, you're good. Thank you, Bill. That was great.
No.
Can I ask
Go ahead.
some question that you probably covered earlier, but I've seen soliciting volunteers for this committee in general and through emails, whatever. Is there a reason to think that soliciting members from stakeholder groups might be useful?
You mean targeting specific stakeholder groups?
I think that's what Andrew was saying.
Yeah, I think we want to do that for sure.
As
Once we
for,
identify them.
Yeah.
for committee membership.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely. I think
committee representation.
I think when and I guess that's a really good question to help specify. When I talk about identifying the stakeholders, I think what I mean when I say that is who we want to see represented on the committee
Okay,
to make sure those voices
Okay.
are heard.
so that hasn't been established yet, that there are so
I think
many of this and so many of that.
I would say, I think we've had some suggestions from people, but I think it needs to be more specified,
Okay,
definitely. So we're absolutely open to any suggestions you have.
well, I'm just thinking it's hard to identify a committee in a timely fashion if part of the pre-committee's job is to make sure that all the stakeholder groups have been solicited for member status, as it were.
That's a good point.
Can the group be flexible? Can we start with a core group and have additions?
I think that we have to do that.
That's what I'm going to recommend is
Yeah.
that the town board appoint a steering committee
Mhm.
and then expand from that. A steering committee of 5 or 7 people.
I think though, if there's public clarification that it is not the steering committee, but the committee will be populated by these stakeholder groups, I think there's more of a buy-in.
That's good, good point. Yeah.
So I don't know that you have to wait for the complement to be full, but you might have to wait for the invitations to be out there. So maybe there's a steering committee that makes sure that all of the identified groups or is responsible for identifying.
Are you
groups.
thinking of a way in particular to reach out to specific groups? Because, we've posted this, we've shared it in sort of the regular public places that we share, town notices. So, and Wilmington is so small that I think theoretically, hopefully we've reached a number of these groups, but are you thinking in particular of a way to reach out to specific groups?
Yeah. I'm thinking that we need to contact specific groups.
Okay.
We need to identify them and we need to contact them.
Do you want to, it seems like you have specific thoughts in your head about identifying groups and
No,
Okay.
my thoughts are we need to identify those groups
reach out to them more directly
and reach out to them
Okay,
directly.
instead of just
Name the
doing the
groups right
public.
now.
I don't think we can name the groups right now. I think Andrew had thoughts on that. I think Hannah's idea of collecting information from people, I think you'll get them.
Do it that way.
Yeah,
And my thought, and we can adjust this obviously as needed, we're still sort of informally gathering stuff, but if I'll email everyone tonight and if you can send me your thoughts on the stakeholder groups, and also if you can include in that, if you have in mind someone specific who would be good, if we're talking about reaching out to particular groups, if you're
Okay.
thinking, well, like, I'm gonna use the fire department again, for example, if you know someone who might want to be on the committee from the fire
Right.
department, or who would at least be a good contact point for that, if you can include that, that would be really helpful.
sometimes there's a little bit of weight in asking a group or an organization to self-identify who they would like to make their liaison.
Mhm.
I think it also gives a sense of that, not responsibility, but that they're not invisible,
Yes,
that they are truly wanted.
right.
The general call out, I thought was really good, and the idea that you guys are getting it off the ground was really good. But I think the We Need You poster is appropriate too.
Gets
The
better
fire
engagement.
department or
Yeah.
health sciences or the business community. And that's why I can't list them off all tonight, because I know there are people I'm forgetting. And that, so
No, that's
your,
great,
your
yeah.
building of a stakeholder group,
Yeah,
I think people would respond better to being specifically invited.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be a recognition
that's a good.
that they are wanted. Also, it would be recognition that they declined.
It's a good, yeah, all good thoughts, definitely.
That's part of it.
And recognition that they're important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Or-
I'm not really sure I buy into that, but okay.
That they're important. Or,
That we should, I mean, if this is the town's comprehensive plan, I don't really know that we have to say you're more important than somebody else. I think that all residents are equally important. That's one of the things that's dicey,
Mhm.
is that otherwise we get overrepresentation of economic leaders, this is, and we don't get Joe Blow. And it's really Joe Blow that we care about the most, maybe that's that, yeah.
And that's a stakeholder.
I was gonna say, but that's a stakeholder group we'll identify as well.
Yep.
To make sure that it's represented.
I mean, they're,
You get what I'm saying?
that's the least likely group to come to these meetings.
Who the,
Joe Blow.
The average.
Well, we might have to form smaller, groups where we reach out outside of this, because,
It's a good
I
idea.
mean, look around.
Good idea.
Most of the people here are retired
yeah.
and we have
exactly.
time. A lot of
Yeah.
the younger people, they don't have the time. They're not gonna come to
Yep.
these meetings and sit here for 2 hours.
That's why we thought the Zoom would be.
They might not even do that.
Yep.
So, but if you go to them
Mhm.
and get their input,
Well, that's kind of like the survey part one, but then more in depth. Like, we should get families, it's really, we should be concerned about people with kids.
Yeah, but when kids.
Right, but they're not like the fire department, health department, or, that's what I'm saying, it's like, those are the people I'm much more interested in. The locals who just live here but are busy and working.
Well, that's a good idea. Maybe the committee appoints someone as like an outreach person, an outreach
and you
coordinator.
can
What's
have
that?
different
So
people
that's the fire
responsible for
department. They're all
different
volunteers, they're all local, and they're all working. So, yeah. That's the part about being a small community is
Right,
many people, many hats.
Yeah.
Many people fit in multiple categories. Seasonal workers, second homeowners, that's who've been here for decades.
Maybe for expediency, if we just follow up on Hannah's suggestion that we all send to her our list of stakeholders. I bet some of us are lumpers and some of us are splitters, and we'll probably have way too many different groups to work with, but maybe Hannah or somebody can kind of make sense out of it, group it all together. Maybe at our next meeting then, we can take the next step of, okay, so we have this list of stakeholders, how are we going to reach out to them? Individually, or maybe just say, hey, fire department, we'd like to have a representative. You pick the one for our committee. But I think the first step is just to get that list of stakeholders.
So I'm gonna throw some dates out there because I know that I need deadlines to work. I would say if everyone could have their input to me by next Friday, which is the 13th, and then let me have the weekend to try and organize it and make sense of it a little bit. And then do we want to try to have another meeting that following week, and or do we want to leave it in the air and see how the town board meeting goes?
and what's our assignment, the stakeholders?
I'll email everything,
On the
but
survey
yeah, surveys, if there are survey questions you think would be good to include, stakeholder groups you suggest, any contacts for particular stakeholder groups if you want to make that suggestion. And then as you guys review other comprehensive plans, just if there are notes or, particular pieces of information you think would be good to include.
When is the next town meeting?
Tuesday,
The
right?
10th.
So then
So the
the
13th
committee
is
will
will
be, the committee will be named at,
I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I won't say I doubt it.
We're going to meet after this meeting. Right?
Tim and I are going to chat. And so that's why I say maybe we want to wait and see what happens at the town board meeting, and then we can email it, if needed to set the next date.
So you're saying you wouldn't be appointing a committee then?
I would love to think that we will. I don't know that that's realistic.
what I'd like to do is appoint the steering committee.
Okay,
And
but you
then,
at least get
but
started.
I would like, I mean, these meetings should be open to the public
Right.
almost always, if not always.
Mhm.
So I don't think anyone's going to be shut out. That's definitely not the purpose.
Right.
Everyone who wants to participate should be able to participate.
That's the whole point.
We
and
need
that's
more
important.
participation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But we also need like a defined group to
To
lead
lead a
the
little
effort.
bit. Yeah.
So what is the steering committee gonna do?
I guess that's up to the steering committee.
Yeah, I mean, in my head, they
You're
start
good.
identifying the groups and assignments and, you know, the first steps.
Well, and I
Maybe
think that
there's-
they should talk to some of the other communities who
I think
have
that's a great first
a
step.
recent plan and,
Yeah.
and get some ideas of. We may find out, although we all think it's the number one priority to do the survey, there may be some
They might
other
have a different
step that
suggestion.
is,
Yeah.
that's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Who
Well,
knows?
Bill, if you have some experience with this, what was your, with, how they did it from your experience? How did they start?
We started with a lot of advertising. We didn't rely so much on surveys. We really wanted people to come in and have a conversation with us. So we did.
Yeah.
We did some surveying, but the focus groups are really, I think, where you have a chance for a moderator to really drill into topics and tease out important ideas. So we didn't. I don't remember that we actually sent a survey. It would have been a very large number of people, much larger than Wilmington. So I remember we did do a postcard survey at one point, just to kind of get a sense of whether people even wanted planning or zoning. And I think that was the only survey that we did. We relied a lot, but we had a lot of public meetings. I mean, we probably went on for 5 or 6 months where we had meetings because as we were developing the comprehensive plan, we also had all these cool maps and everything, and we wanted people to come in and comment on it and get their feedback. So we really need human contact here, not just surveys.
I want to tack onto that, Bill. And I know we keep referencing Jay, but they had a community visioning workshop where they invited the community and they had a moderator, I think, and they went through and tried to figure out what everyone's priorities were within the community.
Someone I remember once mentioned to me that they had an open room where people were encouraged to write Post-it notes and put on the wall, just whatever ideas that they were concerned with, what they wanted to see dealt with. And that opened it up rather than having the moderator and this is at the beginning level, I think, where it just says the different things. That way people, I think, are less inhibited.
Yeah, they don't have to speak, they don't have to be shy.
I do, and I agree with a lot of what you said. Over the last hour, I think what I will do is, there's a person whose name I keep hearing, and that's Beth Giles, who's with the Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board, who works on comprehensive plans, and I think I should try to have her speak to this group. And right, she's the comprehensive plan person. I mean, Anna Reynolds with Office of Community Resources, they do it as well, but I keep hearing this name, Beth Giles, as a resource for us. So, you know Beth?
I know Anna.
Yes. Yep.
Well, a lot of the information back in the 70s, 75, came from that organization.
Did it?
Yeah.
It's
referenced in some of their tables and reference materials. A lot of the how the community fits in the region documentation came from them. That sounds like a great fit.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that group existed 50 years ago. But
Same name. I don't know if it's the
Must
same
be the same
organization,
group.
but I'm thinking it's like, well, yes, then you're looking to update.
Anything anyone wants to add?
Did we get through your long list?
I didn't have a very long list.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I might have something to add. I actually had a kind of a good question. Someone emailed me, asking for a description of what a position on the committee actually entails. So I think maybe I'll just add that to, the list of things you guys can send me. Or do we want to try and make a description really quickly right now? Perhaps that would be easier. Or do we think we need more input from other people?
Well, we can come up with an idea of what we know.
Yeah. I did write a quick, just like 2 sentences, that I can read if everyone wants to, just to give like a jumping off point, and we can say we hate it, or we can make additions. But it was, serving on the comprehensive plan committee means taking an active role in shaping Wilmington's future. Members participate in discussions, review planning material, and bring community insight to decisions that guide land use, housing, infrastructure, and quality of life.
Very good.
Sounds good, yeah.
Maybe include some kind of a timeframe
Yeah,
commitment, like,
I was
you
gonna
know,
like that.
this may take a year or 2, we're probably gonna meet
I like
once
that.
every month or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
X number of hours a month.
Meetings.
Once a month.
Yeah.
But it's flexible.
Meetings and
I think that
communicating.
you should definitely allow for the space that somebody doesn't feel like they're committing the rest of their life to this.
Yeah.
That
they won't
it's,
do
that
it.
it's flexible, that it's, you're free to leave and have somebody else, you know, take the place, that type of thing.
Participate as much as you,
As you have the
Yeah.
time. If you want to participate not that much, that's fine.
I don't know if anyone else has brought this up. If they have, I apologize. I think these committees almost always also form subcommittees for specific tasks and projects.
And I think that would be really necessary with this.
Okay, so I've added 2 more sentences. This committee will meet at least once a month and will likely take 1 to 2 years to complete. Participation is up to each individual and their level of commitment.
I do think if you're a member of a committee and you are making a commitment to it's like being on a team, you're making a commitment to the team. Someone's counting on you to do whatever you've committed to do. And letting, I don't know if I've introduced any kind of wiggle room in the initial description, because obviously somebody's husband gets sick and they're not going to be on the committee or can't come as often. There's obviously room for that, but I don't think you want people to think, oh, I can just drop in and drop out, because
Whatever.
then you're not getting a continuity of input and having that person be able to contribute.
But is there anybody here that thinks that, from what she said? I don't think any of us think that.
But in terms of a written description, because that's a great written description that maybe could be included in the invite.
Yeah.
If there are any stakeholder groups being targeted.
Yeah,
I just
think
see
maybe
people
it's-
turned off if it's like, oh, I'm
Hannah, can you read it
I'm
again?
committing
Yeah,
myself
1
once
to 2
a
years
month for
is a
2
lot.
years.
I think
Oh,
that
no, I don't see that.
they have to have that wiggle room or they're just.
What do you
Yeah,
What do you
I'm-
think about if you get specific assignments, or you join a specific subcommittee, then you get
We're open.
you get a more of a, we expect this level of commitment from you if you're going to sign on to this.
Maybe a list of minimum commitment versus
Yeah.
maximum.
I think that it's not fair to a committee that has been doing work and studying and is up to speed on things, to have somebody who kind of comes and then 3 months later, you got to spend the first 10 minutes catching people up. I think you've got to have folks who are going to
Yeah.
make a commitment.
I'm having a second thought. I don't know that we should be determining these specifics for the committee that hasn't been formed yet. My thought is maybe we add some language that specific commitment levels will be determined by the committee once it's formed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then we can
And
share it
maybe
from
throw
there.
in that, there's gonna be opportunities for
For different
smaller,
Different levels of
minor,
commitment.
more minor commitment,
Right.
something like that.
That's meetings are asked for.
I'm gonna read the whole thing again. Okay, serving on the comprehensive plan committee means taking an active role in shaping Wilmington's future. Members participate in discussions, review planning materials, and bring community insight to decisions that guide land use, housing, infrastructure, and quality of life. Specific commitments will be determined and shared by the committee once it is appointed by the Wilmington Town Board. We anticipate various levels of commitment options.
That's good. Yeah.
Like it?
Yep, we like it.
Is it?
I will share
I
that with
think
everyone
there's
as well.
something that, about how important it is that we have,
Although I don't have another
close that paragraph with the importance of your participation, you know, that
But you can text my email.
vital to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what about,
and then what happens is I get it.
we hope for and value the participation of,
Okay. I'm gonna keep on
The representation.
CW two. And I
let me write it out. I'm not gonna be able to think of it.
that and And I think that one where
Will
if
you
you
be
send it to
attending?
your phone, it will act as a text.
Okay.
The other one is CW,
Perennially.
CUNY,
I mean,
Judy,
at first,
and
because I
gmail.com.
know about this and I meet with the people of the county and I can bring information, but I don't plan on driving the effort. We're being-
How about, representation of all different stakeholder groups within Wilmington is vital, and we hope to have your participation.
But you might
Okay,
have
that-
to come.
Okay, and that was sort of our
Yes,
closing.
but
Thank you.
probably not.
And I'll share that with I'll share this with everyone.
And they'll be cooking this.
Are you making them?
In the batch.
Perfect. Okay,
Yes.
thanks, guys. That's great. Any last minute thoughts?
I'm tired.
Appreciate everyone.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
And we'll keep doing the virtual option as well. And I didn't realize it. I made it sound a little bit more confusing, I think, than it actually is. The virtual link stays the same for every town meeting that exists.
Oh,
So you can just go to the town website. It's always going to be the same link, and you can join that
Can you
way.
include that link in your?
I will continue to include the link also.
oh, excellent.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Drive safely, everyone.
very much.
You too.
There are quite a few screens.
That would be Tim.
What's the first?
She would like to take the screen.
Yes, that's why I